right, with the return of Sandra Fluke, the president's pushing his tall tale of being strong on women's issues, but he's forgetting he now has a record, and that includes a record of rising unemployment among women in this country. So let's get to the numbers here. As the RNC points out, under President Obama's watch, the unemployment rate among women was at 7% when he took office. It now sits at 8.1%. That is a net 860,000 jobs lost for women, and it all happened because of this president's radical policies. Joining me now with reaction, the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Culture of Corruption, Michelle Malkin, is back. You know, 860,000 fewer women working. That is a war on women. Policies that are impacting, that's 860,000 fewer women working. That, to me, for all this talk about a war on women, how impactful, how hurtful is that to women in America?
Well, of course, it's devastating. And the war on jobs, the war on the economy has had a disproportionate effect on women. And they're trying to paper it over at the White House by elevating poster chicks for the nanny state like Sandra Fluke. But it cannot erase this devastating record. And add to the statistics that you cited, of course, another one from the RNC, that the poverty rate among women is the highest that it's been in 17 years. Imagine if it was a Republican president who presided over this. We'd be hearing about the misogynist record of an administration like that from now until the end of time. And I think you also have to couple, of course, the fact that self-sufficiency is the enemy of the kind of progressivism that this administration has presided over.
Now think of the environment that they bring out Sandra Fluke here, which I think is pretty interesting. It's at a time when his campaign refuses to condemn a super PAC ad that basically accuses Mitt Romney of being a murderer, on the heels of Harry Reid's comments that Romney's father would be embarrassed by him, that Romney hasn't paid taxes in 10 years, prove it. Stephanie Cutter and others accusing him of being a felon. You know, didn't he call Sandra Fluke because he's demanding a new civility in the country?
Yeah, good point. And let's not forget that the super PAC, Priorities USA, is primarily funded by one of our culture's most misogynist, filth-mouthed public figures out there, Pig Maher, Bill Maher, who has never been condemned by the civility police at the White House. You know, you want to talk about a war on women? Let's talk about the war on conservative women that's been waged by the White House operatives and all of their acolytes and allies. I mean, look at how they talk about the Palin women, and look at how they've talked about Ann Romney. Let's not forget what Hillary Rosen, who was very close to this White House, said in trashing women who made the choice to stay home. You want to talk about who the party of choice is? It's the conservatives. It is the Republican Party that supports choice. Let me get
big picture stuff from you here, because I predict that this shows desperation. I mean, real desperation. And it started, and there was a reason for the method to my madness by highlighting nightly Dirty Air and Water and Granny Over the Cliff. I did it on purpose. I did expect and anticipate that they would go further. I didn't think they'd go this far. But now that Romney's a murderer, Romney's a tax cheat, Romney's a felon, you know, it's now almost, it's becoming a caricature. And it also highlights that they don't have a record. So big picture, does this work?
I hope it backfires, but it takes a Republican candidate who's willing to put the fists out there and fight back hard. And the response, for example, to this lying, smearing super PAC ad accusing Romney of a murder is not to talk about Romney Care. It's to talk about the Obama jobs death toll and the Beltway jobs massacre and the thousands of real workers out there who have had their pensions and health care stripped, like the Delphi workers and all of the Rust Belt, that this administration and its lapdogs don't want to talk about that. Please, Team Romney, get a hang of yourselves. Get the people out there who can fight on this instead of retreating and pointing to other government programs that would support these people.
You are prominent.